Arctic air remains in place. No warm-ups in sight, and a coastal storm likely to form over the weekend with lots of uncertainty. However, there's always one thing that is certain, and that is the Joe and Joe Weather Show podcast on Sunday through Thursday at 7:35 p.m. That is almost always certain. And you can support the Joe and Joe Weather Show podcast if you shop on Amazon. Use our referral link that's pinned to the top of the chat board. And it's really important, folks, because it doesn't cost you a dime. If you shop on Amazon, you use the link to get you there, and Amazon throws us back some coin, and we don't have to run commercials. I mean, we do hour-and-a-half shows here with no commercial interruption on the live when we're live. So we very much appreciate those of you who do your Amazon shopping using our referral link, because then I don't have to put ads on. And Tempest by Weatherflow. Get the revolutionary Tempest weather system. Join the fastest growing observing weather network on the planet. The Amazon link tonight is pinned to the top of the chat board, and it's on the descriptor to this podcast on YouTube. And the Tempest link is on the descriptor to this podcast on YouTube. And Joe Rayo knows what the coupon code is.
It is winter 2026, and that will get you 10%, 10 big percent off anything that you may want to purchase at Tempest.
And why not?
And happy natal day to you.
Thank you. Thank you very much. I was telling Joe just we went off the air and I put it up on the chat board. Everybody's had one of those days where from the time you get up, everything that could possibly go wrong goes wrong. And I have to tell you today, and there was a long list of things that could have possibly gone wrong. They all not only did not go wrong, they went right in a big way. So I was very, very thrilled. And in fact, I want to show you one of the things that really went right for me today that made my day was I went to a local, it's sort of like a junk / antique store. And you've seen those kinds of stores, Joe, where they've got all this stuff outside, and a lot of it is, old car stuff and maybe stuff for the yard, tools and shovels and all the rest of it. Well, inside, the same thing, but they had this one section with toys, old toys, and I found this. Okay, it is a railroad crossing lamp. Is that not the coolest thing? And the lights actually, that's not a video, it's a still shot, but those lights actually flash. So it was great. It was $20.
Wouldn't it be wonderful now if you could find the gate to go along with that?
Oh, I know. Well, don't think that hasn't crossed my mind. And we've got a number of railroad towns around here and a number of these types of stores where they have all this stuff, old signs from, old Gulf oil signs from Gulf gas stations from the 50s and things like that. I probably could find something along those lines. But if I do, I definitely will grab it. We already have a bunch of super chat hits. So I just
they're coming fast and furious, aren't they?
Yes. So William Uber, Kenneth, Kenny Musey, John Menendez, and Paul Roman, Mike Whiteley, all hitting the tip jar tonight. And Joe, if you could keep an eye on the tip jar, that would be great. So we are once again. Last weekend we were on. A week ago today, we were 5 days out from what turned out to be I thought was one of the better winter storms that we've had in many, many years, given everything that happened with it and just how the whole thing set up. And now here we are on Tuesday, looking ahead to this weekend, and I don't know how you feel about it because you and I haven't talked, but I will say this. And I agree with what was on WPC's discussion that I just read a little while ago, and I'll probably read it at some point tonight. The the final outcome with what's being shown on various models and ensembles, it's not there yet. We're still dancing around from run to run, and it's probably not going to be until Thursday when we can
Right.
really, zero in on this. I don't think anything is off the table.
Well, you're absolutely right. Although if you read many of the comments on social media, it already
Oh,
is on the table. It's already
yeah,
here.
I stayed off. I didn't see anything. I don't care. They're there. They're not interested in meteorology. They're interested in making money, and making money is fine, but not the way they do it. But yeah, please. What kind of maps are they putting up? Because I didn't see anything. I know which one they put up. They definitely put up the one that had the 47 inches on the Kuchera map for southern Delaware. Am I right? Is that the one?
I can tell you only that they've been showing all the ones that show something alluding to another major storm are up there. They have completely disregarded. Now, you remember last week you had posted that the European AI was the one that really did the best job on this recent storm system. And guess what? The European AI is now indicating that this storm is going to give either just a glancing blow or nothing at all to
Right.
much of the tri state area. And so everybody's ignoring that, but they are going with the GFS AI and the GFS, which is showing something significant. And again, you're right, it's much too early. The
Yeah.
very earliest we could start honing in on something would be
Uh-oh. Joe froze on me. I hope I didn't freeze. Oh, you're back. Okay, good.
oh,
You froze there for a minute. You froze again. Are you still there? Not on my birthday. Don't do this on my birthday. What is
I
going
I
on?
I don't know, Joe.
All right, sort of like maybe with the cold. It was 5.5 degrees was the low. Um, no, one of the things I did yesterday was I looked back. If you go on Tropical Tidbits, you can go back. He keeps the last 7 days of worth of runs. So I went back yesterday to about like 6 days out, and just to remind myself what some of the models were doing, and then what wound up being reality for this past weekend. None of them were anywhere close, and to what finally transpired. It wasn't until tomorrow would be the first day where the models started to come around to this, how that last weekend system was going to play. And even then, 4 days out, it still had the low, way too far south. So my point is that here we are, we're 5 days away. uh, if you take any of today's runs as gospel as the final solution, and look, it could very well wind up being out to sea. All I'm saying is that right now, you have to consider the possibility that that may not quite be the case. I'm not saying it's going to be anything big, but I think there is a chance that we could see a snowfall for coastal areas for sure.
A lot of people have been saying, how many times do you get a major storm like the one we just had, followed up by yet another major storm in only a week's time?
Very
Actually,
rare.
we have had, I think in 1956 there was a storm that two storms that came within a few days of each other. That well, one of them dumped like 5 inches, and the other one dumped like 12 or 15 in New York.
Right.
So yeah, it happens. It can happen, but again, you're right. It is very rare and very unusual, and you have to get everything in alignment just the right way in order for you to get that double whammo effect, so to speak.
Boy, you're freezing up tonight for some reason. Now you're back again. Are you there?
I'm here.
I hear you. Yeah, no, you froze up again. Very weird. Nicing is not being nice to you tonight. Or
Well,
whoever do you get your internet from?
this is Optum,
Okay.
Optimum. Excuse me. So
Well. You know what? We're gonna talk weather here. So welcome tonight to everybody on the chat board, and welcome to those of you who are working in the background, lurking in the background. Well, you might even be working in the background. I don't know. For tonight's Joe and Joe Weather Show podcast, we're here Sunday through Thursday at 7:35 p.m. And last weekend we were on Friday, we were on Saturday, we were on multiple times on Sunday. So if it does turn out that we're going to need to add shows, we're going to let you know. Maybe we'll let you know tomorrow. Maybe we'll have to wait till Thursday. But if it does turn out that we're going to get something this weekend, we will add some shows on. Okay, you're in the Arctic where you are. I'm in the Arctic where I am. I did go above freezing today, but you probably aren't going to see the freezing mark for quite a while.
We may take a swing at it on Groundhog Day, or maybe the day after. That's the very earliest that we're going to see, at least around here, any chance of going above 32 degrees. Until then, uh, what can I say? I'll give you a Norm Dvoskinism. Numbs the word, Joe.
Oh, I bet. I bet. At least this morning, as cold as it was, we had very little wind today, which made a huge difference compared to yesterday when we had a screaming wind all yesterday and for at least part of last night. But finally that the wind went away. We have actually pretty quiet weather across the U.S. There's not a whole lot happening other than the fact that everybody east of the Rockies is cold. We still have the Weather Service cold weather alerts or cold weather advisories up. So that's, like I said, it's sort of like your mother telling you to make sure you put on a coat before you go out. And that's going to continue. Uh, Still a handful of counties in Indiana and Ohio uh, with extreme cold weather warnings. Otherwise, we don't really have anything with respect to snow. A couple of winter weather advisories in the usual lake effect areas, and we've got lake effect snow warnings. You got some snow today, didn't you? You had some snow
Yes, we
showers that went
did.
through.
We did. It would started off bright and sunny, then it kind of clouded, and then we had what I call mayonnaise sunshine. The looking up at the sky, you'd see the sun, but it looked like you were looking through a jar of mayonnaise at it. It was that kind of.
Boy, he is freezing up today for some reason. I'm not sure why that is. While he's frozen, I will tell you that Christinapedia, thank you very much for hitting the tip jar, and thank you for the birthday wishes and for the kind words. And Delaware Weather Guy, also thank you for hitting super chat tonight. You froze up there again for a minute.
Yeah,
Yeah,
we had what I called a mayonnaise sky, mayonnaise
right.
sunshine. It looked like the sun was being viewed through a mayonnaise jar at one point, and then it started snowing. I said, "Oh, no big deal. Very, very light snow." But I want to tell you, Joe, when it was all over, said and done, around 3:30 or 4 o'clock this afternoon, we had a fresh coating of large parts of my driveway that had blacktop from shoveling and.
Boy, this is really weird. Joe keeps freezing. Trying to see what the issue is. Yeah, it's I'm getting it's so funny because sometimes when I have the there he's back again.
All right, am I
Yeah,
here?
yeah, you're there. You just keep you're freezing up from time to time. I just was checking the settings here on YouTube and the signal from my side. Usually it tells me when there's like, I'm getting internet hits and I'm not. It says I have an excellent, so it might be optimum on your end, but we'll try to get through this. The mayonnaise sky was there. You were describing the mayonnaise sky.
Mayonnaise sky sun is being viewed through a mayonnaise jar and dim sunshine, and then light snow started. Very, very light snow. But and I said, that's not going to be a big deal. What the heck? Just a few snowflakes. By the time it finished, about an hour and a half later, there was a fresh coating of snow on the ground, and all the
Nice.
blacktop on my driveway gone. And you know
Well, you know
that
what? When you're deep into the Arctic air and you got any little shortwave that comes by can set off snow showers fairly easily. And if you're on Long Island, you wind up, sometimes you'll get the ocean effect or Long Island sound effect with the snow shower activity.
Yeah. Well, we got it. We got a little bit of light snow, and I'm assuming that this will be the last time we'll see any kind of snow of any degree until maybe, again he says, maybe Sunday. We'll see.
Well, you got another Arctic boundary about to move through on the 21Z map. There's a front approaching western Pennsylvania and western New York. It's a cold front, so the air is actually a little colder behind it than it is ahead of it. If that makes you feel any better, or maybe makes you feel worse. And in fact, the morning lows being forecast by the Weather Service tomorrow morning, the warmer urban areas and some coastal areas will probably get down to a 10 or low teens, but many of the inland spots are going to be in the low and middle single digits. And in fact, we've got some below zero readings being indicated in parts of northwest New Jersey, northeast Pennsylvania, north and east up into the Catskills. And you've got single digit numbers going down into Virginia. In western Virginia, a few below zero readings as well. And you're looking at low to mid teens down into the Carolinas and into eastern Tennessee. I'm going to get a break tomorrow morning because instead of being down at 5, the forecast low for me is at about 19. And right now, I'm sitting at 30 degrees. Satellite loop tonight. Not again, very quiet. Little Arctic boundary coming through. You can see short waves triggering off clouds and some snow showers here and there. Energy in the Pacific coming inland. And I will tell you that they are sending reconnaissance aircraft tonight. There will be tonight's runs to the next two model runs will be very interesting because they will have recon data from both the Atlantic and the Pacific. So we'll see what tonight's runs do with all the extra data as they sample the energy off in the Pacific that's going to be coming inland. And here's your radar. Got precipitation, quite a bit of rain going on in California and points north. You can see the snow shower activity and some heavier snow bands along Lake Ontario coming inland, knocking on the door near Syracuse and Rochester, but perhaps even a little bit further north up in north central New York. We had snow showers. The Joe snow showers from earlier have now worked their way off the coast of southeastern New England, so radars should be calming down. WPC, now this is through next Tuesday, and it's all about the weekend system with the precipitation you have here. They're actually, surprisingly, they've got a half an inch of liquid just inland from the coast in southeastern New England into eastern Connecticut, the Long Island Sound to about New York City, and down through central and south Jersey, a half an inch, coastal New Jersey, 3/4 of an inch of liquid. And that extends down into southeast Virginia and North Carolina. We're looking at a tenth to a quarter of an inch back through the southern Appalachians, including me, because this storm might actually give me a few inches if it plays out right. Much of the rest of the country is pretty quiet, except the far corner of the Pacific Northwest. So I've got up on the screen. So this is the 18Z run from last Tuesday night. Okay, this is last Tuesday night because I want to show you, for what happened in the weekend. This is the GFS, and here's your system in the south. A lot of snow in North Carolina and Tennessee. Didn't wind up happening that way. Look where the low is. Low forms off North Carolina and then goes out from there, east northeast. Snow barely gets to Boston and to Albany. And, they wound up with 20 plus inches in the Boston area, and they wound up with well over, over a foot, 12 to 15 up in Albany. So you can see the error here in the model 5 days before the actual event, and we're kind of in the same place now. So you can't look at any of the runs today and unequivocally say that that's the right solution. There's still going to be more model shifts and adjustments going forward. And I will go to the current model run and show you what the upper air looks like because, well, if it lets me, why is it not? There we go. got a really, really odd situation here that is happening, and a lot of players, which is another reason why you have to be really careful here in terms of trying to, come to a conclusion now. But you've got the short wave that's moving through on Wednesday and moves out toward Newfoundland, leaves energy behind. You see it there northeast of Lake Superior. That's like that arm comes down and around and then forms a cutoff low in western Kentucky and Tennessee. And then the question becomes, as it heads down, the cutoff goes into Georgia and South Carolina, and then eventually lifts up the coast. How far north does it lift? And how soon does it start lifting? Because if there's a short wave behind it, it could make it lift out further to the east. Or if that short wave is weaker, and there's a few other players in this too, Joe, where you could run this upper low closer to the coast, and the associated surface low that's going to develop with this could wind up being closer to the coast. And I think we could agree one way or the other that the storm is going to that low out there is going to get very intense.
I think you're absolutely right in the fact that how is the pendulum going to swing? I mean, how is the shortwave? How quickly will it go when it tilts to the right? What we call a negative tilt. That will be the determining factor as to, as you just mentioned, Joe, where the storm is going to track. How close to the coast does it track? Does it track further out to the east, out over the ocean, or if it does come closer to the coast, it could mean that not just the immediate coastal plain, but inland areas too could receive another significant snowfall. So, but it's still early. It's still much too early. We need more data to be inputted into those supercomputers, and again, we won't be getting that data until tomorrow night or Thursday at the very earliest. But you're right about the data being taken from the Atlantic and the Pacific tonight. We'll see how that may change things in the overnight runs tonight compared to the runs we saw this afternoon.
I do want to Carl Schmoyer, Rich Rothmansky, and oh,
I had Federal
Fedulek
Kotkovsky.
Kovsky.
Yes.
Thank you all for hitting the tip jar. Really appreciate it. And thank you for the happy birthday wishes. This is the GFS surface from the latest run, which came in a little more to the left or closer to the coast. But you can see there's a big Arctic high coming down when we get toward the end of the week. Uh, and you start to form a low in northeast, just off the coast of Florida, near the Florida Big Bend. And then it really just blows up with that big, deep cutoff. It just explodes. And this particular run has the back edge of the snow to about New York City, and then running down the Route 1 corridor in New Jersey, and then moving on out to the northeast. It gets down into the low 960s in terms of depth. I mean, this is really, quite the animal. And there's also a pretty long fetch here of an extremely tight gradient. Are we going into a new moon or a full moon this weekend?
Full moon.
Full
Full moon
moon.
on
There
full
could be
moon
some
is
this setup
Monday.
coming with this. There could be some serious coastal flooding with this if this materializes.
Also, the other thing I want to point out here is that, with this potential nor'easter, this may be one of those cases where we're going to have that very sharp northern cutoff,
Oh yeah, absolutely, absolutely.
just as we saw in 2016, where New York City got 27 inches of snow. 50 miles north of New York, got 11 inches, and up near Hopewell Junction, which is just a stone's throw away to my north. I remember somebody had made the comment on my Facebook page. He said, "What's all the big deal about all this snow? I have barely enough snow to cover the grass." And but further north from there, nothing, nothing.
Yeah.
So
And here's the European, also the 18Z European. It came in a little bit to the left, grazing coastal New Jersey and western Long Island, but gave a little bit more to eastern Long Island and southeastern and to southeast New England. That is just an app, it just really bombs this thing out. Gets down and it get also into the mid 960s in terms of pressure. And one of the things you got to realize too, folks, if you're going to have a deep low like this, it gets very, very tight. So it's not like the last system where you had precip all over the place for hundreds and hundreds of miles. In these cases, you wind up with a storm that's like wrapped up like a tight little ball. So you got to have the low track very, much closer than you would in a broader system, uh, because it produces that sharp cutoff from once you go, once you go north and west far enough from where the low center is, and you see how sharp it goes from nothing to heavy snow, the dark blue snows. You're talking 50 miles uh, from one end to the other. So
And that's why
the
it's
other,
a truly a coastal event. I've seen a number of the technical discussions talking about how, for example, places in the mid-Atlantic, we're talking about, let's say, Norfolk, Virginia Beach, part of the Delmarva Peninsula, they are far better favored for getting a really, major snowfall as opposed to places that are further to the north and to the west. The I-95 corridor, again, kind of sitting right on the line between something very significant and something that's just a regular snowfall. And so places like Norfolk, Virginia, and then you go further to the north and east, and you might have a place like, let's say, Cape Cod or down East Maine that could get walloped with significant snow, and places that are further west and north, get much less. It's going to be that kind of a situation coming up uh, during the course of Sunday, and Monday.
I was going to read a couple of paragraphs from WPC's discussion. They talk about what you said earlier with regards to model performance. And he says it's worth noting that while the EC APHIS, which is the European AI, has largely performed well inside of 5 days much of the winter season, the European AI and the European did suppress the track of the most recent winter storm too much 4 to 5 days out before correcting northward inside of 72 hours. So that means that if it's going to correct, we got to wait till Thursday for it to correct.
Right.
This setup is a highly timing dependent from the primary shortwave trough currently east of Hudson Bay to the interaction of the cyclone gyres that are running around in southeastern Canada and south of Iceland that promote the confluence ahead of the potential storm to the incoming Pacific shortwaves that track into Western Canada and adjust the strength and position of the Western North America ridge. I mean, if that doesn't tell you how many players there are in a situation like this is just not the matter of a low just floating along in the flow. There are so many players and so many actors. If any one of them changes, what it's going to do, it's going to change what everything else is going to look like. And he just goes on to say, whatever the current model solutions show beyond 72 hours is unlikely to be the final product. Expect additional model changes in the coming days. If there is one thing that has increased in confidence in the last 24 hours, it is the opportunity for coastal flooding and beach erosion for the mid-Atlantic coast. So I think that's WPC. And by the way, on their map, uh, on their forecast from earlier today, and I'll bring it up. WPC for Saturday into Sunday has for Eastern Long Island, Central and South Jersey for the most part, down all the way into Central and Eastern North Carolina has a 30 to 50% chance for at least three. The light blue you see in Southeast Virginia is the 50 to 70, but it does have the light green of 10 to 30 going all the way up almost to Albany. So there you go. And then for the next day, because this is going to be a Saturday into Sunday event, it has 30 to 50 Jersey coast, much of Long Island, much of Connecticut except the western part of the state, the central and eastern part of Massachusetts and Rhode Island, and on up into southern New Hampshire and Maine, all in 30 to 50. And then they have 10 to 30 going back to eastern Pennsylvania down to the Delmarva Peninsula. So in spite of whatever the models are doing, WPC is thinking, you know what, this is going to be close. This is going to be close and probably closer than what models are indicating at the moment.
It's just, as I said, and I'll emphasize again what you just said, Joe. It's too close. It's too early to get, to be able to predict to any significant degree any kind of accuracy on this yet. But unfortunately, on social media and even tonight on the ABC evening news, they were making it sound like, yes, another major storm is heading for the eastern seaboard or for the Atlantic seaboard. Another major storm may hit the major cities, just like what we saw this weekend. And I just like shook my head. I said, it could happen, but why are you trying to scare people? Well, I know why they're trying to scare people. In the editorial room, they probably said, all right, let's try to jack the ratings up. Let's try to keep all eyes on our channel and assure them that we'll be the one to break the news to them. But we're not, folks, Joe and myself, we're not interested in scooping anybody on a news story. We are interested in just providing you with the best information that is available at the present time. And unfortunately, right now, the best information available to us says it could very well be something significant, but it's too early to start scaring people. Let's put it that way.
Yeah.
Well,
that's the one thing
possibility
that's
is out there,
changed.
but I'm just saying that,
Yeah.
as I said before, a lot of social media sites, Facebook and other pages too, they're only showing you the models that are indicating that there's going to be a tremendous storm or that there's the possibility of a tremendous storm, and ignoring all the other models that are saying no. You could, if you want to play it down the middle, play it down the middle and just say there's that chance, but we'll know more with the passage of time.
Yeah, before social media, we never really did this sort of stuff. I mean, I really don't remember anybody coming on, networks coming on 3 or 4 days ahead of time, pounding the table in the news part of the show about an upcoming storm 4 days down the road. That never I can't remember that happening when I was, when I was working. But once social media just kind of gained control, and then of course you had the demise. You continue to have this demise of legacy media that is just going to go away at some point. It's just gotten to this sort of desperation that weather is the way you keep eyeballs on your channel. I mean, or whatever, your channel or whatever you're doing. Do you have Briller Jeopardy? Because I'm not sure if I do or you do.
I don't remember the last time I looked and saw Briller Jeopardy on my screen. I'll check right now.
Yeah, I got to check too. I got a lot of birthday wishes today. I have to comb through them.
So let's see. Where is Mr. Briller here? And when was the last thing I got from him? Oh my goodness, going all the way down.
I have one. I have one here.
I have one dated last Tuesday, 9:58 p.m. last Tuesday.
All right, mine was Thursday. Did you?
Okay, so mine must come. Yeah, I think.
You do yours first.
Okay, all right. So this Briller Jeopardy. Sorry, Scott. Yeah, I think you'll understand that we've been a little busy the past week. Average high temperatures in January. The average high temperatures in January's in these cities, starting with Atlanta. What is the average high temperature in January in Atlanta, Joe?
In January, I want to say 52.
Very close. Very close. Not snake country, but still a very close and a very good guess.
Let's see if the chat board's guessing. Are they guessing?
I'm seeing Marky D is in snake country with 53, and James Davidson is in snake country with 55. So what does that tell you?
It tells us that somebody needs to say 54, like Carol DiChiara.
Yes.
And Mike Waterhouse Bonsai.
Oh, there you go. And Tyler Fengus said I confused it with Atlantic City initially. All right. Well, how about Baltimore? Average high temperature in the month of January in Balmer.
I'll say 43.
Where's the bell? Ring the bell for the birthday boy.
Yes.
He got it.
Yes.
43. 43 degrees. How about Boston, Joe?
Boston, I'll say 35.
Close. Not close enough for Snake Country, but still a good guess. But we do have a winner on the chat board for Boston. John Sack, 77, 37 degrees. Same for Patrick Darcy, 37. Let's go with number 4 here. That's Buffalo.
Buffalo. Oh God. Oh. I don't know how to play this one. I don't know whether I should go like something above 30 or go below 30. I'll say 29.
You should have stayed in the 30s.
I thought so. I thought I should have.
J Dog got it with 32.
32. 31 was the number that actually popped into my head originally, and I should have went with that.
And number 5 is Charlotte. Charlotte, North Carolina.
Uh,
Home to WBT that booms in here at night. Big 50,000 watt radio station. Now I want to know what was going on down south in North Carolina weather-wise. Always would tune into WBT on the AM dial.
I'll say 40, 47.
Whoa. That's what David Daniel had said, but that's way off. However,
yeah, Charlotte's
Marky D gets it with 52.
Yeah, Charlotte's in a valley, and I was wondering because Atlanta's far south of Charlotte. It's not next door. It's pretty fair distance to the southwest of Charlotte, and yet their normal's the same. And the thing is, I learned that this weekend because of how the cold air wedged on the mountains where I live. All the cold air went south of me, so I was actually like 6 degrees. One of the rare times that I was actually 6 to 10 degrees warmer, depending on the time of day on Sunday, than Atlanta was. Atlanta was down near freezing in the morning, was below freezing in the morning. I was at like 36, and I actually got to the mid 40s Sunday afternoon, where Atlanta barely got above freezing for almost the whole day. So it was one of those crazy days, but I understand it now.
I mean, that's why so many places got sleep, because the upper levels were warmer than down below, and so apparently if you went higher up, you got into the warmer air.
Yep.
Anyway, 52 was also 52 by Marky D and 52 by Northern Grace. And here's the bonus city tonight, Scranton.
Scranton? What was Buffalo? 31?
Buffalo was 32.
32. I'll say for Scranton, I'll say 30.
You should have gone a couple of degrees higher.
Higher.
And then,
Well, who said 32? Anybody say 32?
I don't see it here. Oh yeah,
Patrick Darcy said 32.
32, but that's not the right answer.
Oh, it's not. Okay.
No, you said you were going to say 32 because of Buffalo, and he went too lower.
Yeah.
To 30. No, but you should have gone too higher.
Oh, really?
So it's the J Dog 804 got it with 34.
34. And a few other people too got it at 34.
Frank R2 at 34. So I'll ring a bell for them. And I thought before we end this, a couple of things. I want to read off all the people tonight who have hit the tip jar, and they are in no particular order: Paul Roman, Mike Whitley, John Moreno, No, excuse me, John Menendez. Can't even read my own handwriting. Thank you, John. Kenneth W8 U51. I'm still wondering if that is that a call sign, John? Are you a ham radio operator? William Huber, Sunny 5675, Chuck Cardillo, Christinapedia, Mrs. Hutch. Thank you, Mrs. Hutch.
Oh,
Uh,
Mrs. Hutch sent me a birthday wish on Facebook too. Thank you.
yes,
Glad you reminded
fantastic.
me.
Delaware, did you get my sister's birthday greeting?
I don't know. I have to
She sent
look.
she sent you something I think on Facebook. Um, it was Lucy and Ethel is holding the pair of
Oh,
hostess pants.
I didn't see that. It must be on my feed someplace. I'll
Okay,
find it.
Delaware Water Guy, thank you. Lane Two TOO. Um, let's see, Rich Rotsmansky, um, Carl Schmoyer the third, Carl F. Schmoyer the third. We just mentioned Federal Drowski and Richard Bond. I hope I got everybody on this listing here. I also want to say thank you again. Actually, I said my neighbors who came through for me when I lost my burner for a day or so um, came up with the three portable heaters, and I said that Pat was the one who watches the Joe and Joe show. No, it's her husband Leo who's the big Joe and Joe fan, and Leo told Pat, and Pat said, "Oh, I must do something," and I said a little red wagon. It was not a little red wagon that she brought up the hill with the heaters. It was a fairly large cart, but again, when she came, it was dark. Number one, number two, it was snowing. Number three, she had a little light, like a little headlight on the front of the cart. But in any case, thank you very much. We did get our heat back yesterday, Joe. Turned out that the oil kind of globbed up
Oh, did
in
it? No,
in one of the pipe. So we had to go out and get this special formula which helps to unglob in
right.
exceedingly cold weather. And I got to tell you, it wasn't just me. It wasn't just Renato and I who had this problem. I know there were a lot more people out there who had this problem because we attempted to go to a number of different home improvement stores, like Home Depot and Ace Hardware. We finally found one late yesterday at a Lowe's up in Poughkeepsie. We had to drive
Really?
we had to drive all the way north, 45 minutes to Poughkeepsie to get this stuff to put in our oil tank. And when we got there, the guy said, "Oh, you're lucky. You got the last two bottles. Everything else is gone." So I'm sure that there have been a lot of people with this extreme cold who have experienced what Brown and I did with our fuel tank, and that is that when it gets very, very cold, the oil kind of congeals, if you will, or gels, and you need something to ungel it or break it up. And so that's what we did and got, and hopefully we wouldn't have any more problems for the moment.
Well, I hope so too. It was an easy, that's a lot better than having them take your burner apart,
Oh, oh,
you know?
please.
Can you imagine?
But I don't want to imagine. But it's a relatively new burner, so
Well, that's
uh,
good.
we knew it had to be something vexing or well, something was happening, and that apparently was it. And Joe, where my sister lives in Throgs Neck, I mentioned yesterday that Eastchester Bay, which is visible from her terrace, is frozen solid now. And she said, I can't even remember the last time we had this cold, so that places like on Long Island, Leon Probitsky said part of Great South Bay is now frozen.
Right.
Large parts of the Hudson River are freezing up now too. We haven't seen this since the winter of 2014, 2015. So this is like 11 years that we've
Yeah.
had cold weather this intense in this
Yes.
era.
And when you look back at the history of weather in New York City, that's really how it happens. You get a handful of winters that are like this, and the rest of them, and the vast majority of them, are either above normal or ordinary.
Right.
So if you like this sort of stuff, this is your world. Enjoy it while it lasts, because there's a high chance that it won't happen again next year. Okay, I mean, and there's a chance that it could happen again, but there's a far higher chance that you know it's a one and done. That's just the way it works. So anyway, we'll be back tomorrow night at 7:35 p.m. and we hope you join us.
Oh, and
Uh,
Izzy D just hit the chat board and says, "Happy birthday till 120 in good health."
120, nice. Well, I'm booked, so I don't really have time to die. I've got too much. I've got too much. I'm booked. I got too many things going on.
Yep.
So, everybody,
I think
thank you for.
Delaware weather guy, I think, has hit the tip jar twice now
Yes,
tonight.
he did.
Yep.
Well, thank you to everybody, and thank you for the wonderful birthday wishes. I'm going through the Facebook stuff, Joe. I got a lot of them, and I haven't found Lisa's yet. But tell her thank you for me, because
Okay.
that sends the correct message. Yes. They're hostess pants. You wear them when you give smart dinner parties. Oh, I was wondering what I'd wear to those smart dinner parties I give.
And it wasn't the next line something like she starts to snicker, and Lucy says, "What are you laughing at?" And he says, "I'm just wondering how he was able to get this into a box of Cracker
Cracker
Jacks."
Jack. Well, even before that, Lucy says, well, I saw these in Harper's Bazaar. And Ethel says, well, they're
Oh, they're
bizarre.
bizarre. All right.
Oh, God. I don't have any use for these things. I wanted a toaster.
Yeah.
All right, everybody. We'll see you tomorrow.
Good night, folks.
Good night.